Hello grade 8s and welcome to Thuma Mina Teaching. This is our fourth and last lesson for term 1. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at diamond mining. We'll be looking at the British takeover of diamond-rich Griqualand West. First things first, why are diamonds valuable? Well, I can think of several reasons. Diamonds are rare because they form deep within the earth under extreme conditions, making them difficult to find and mine. Durability. Diamonds are the hardest natural material, resistant to scratches and damage, ensuring they last a long time. Beauty. Diamonds have a unique sparkle and brilliance due to their ability to reflect light, making them highly prized in jewelry. And finally, diamonds are very useful for industrial use. They are used for cutting, drilling, and grinding due to their unmatched hardness. Diamonds are incredibly valuable, but they don't all have the same value. Diamonds with a higher carat size and greater clarity are more valuable. Wait, what is a carat? No, not that carat, a carat. Carat is a unit of measurement used to describe the weight of a diamond. 1 carat is equal to 200 milligrams. Do you know where the largest diamond was found? In South Africa. It's called the Cullinan diamond. And where is it now? Well, it is in the crown and scepter of the King of England. And legend has it that if you get close to the king's scepter, you will hear it sing. Okay, remember this map from lesson 3 where we focused on Natal? Well, this time we're going to focus on this little part here, Griqualand West. So not many people were interested in this area here, but all of it changed when diamonds were found. This discovery sparked a diamond rush, attracting thousands of prospectors and fortune seekers to the area. This newfound interest led to rapid development and significant economic growth, transforming Griqualand West into a bustling hub of activity. Before the British takeover, the area was primarily inhabited by the Griqua people, along with other indigenous groups. The discovery of diamonds also drew interest from the Boer republics, leading the competition to control over the region. The British ultimately annexed the diamond-rich area in the 1870s, driven by the immense value of the diamond deposits and the strategic importance of controlling the lucrative diamond trade. So now that diamonds were found, people rushed to this area, and this is how it was managed. One person, one claim. Let me explain. Large deposits of diamonds were identified and claims were sold. A claim was a 9 by 9 meter block. A digger bought a claim, and whatever they found in that block was theirs. If they found nothing, well, tough luck. This system ensured that every digger had a fair chance of striking it rich. However, it also meant that success was not guaranteed. Now let me introduce you to these two businessmen, Cecil John Rhodes and Thuma Barnato. Cecil John Rhodes was a British businessman who founded De Beers Mining Company in 1888. He started by buying multiple small claims from individual diggers, consolidating them into larger, more efficient operations. This move helped De Beers control a large portion of the world's diamond production and played a key role in expanding British territories in southern Africa. Thuma Barnato, originally a poor immigrant from London, also bought and consolidated small diamond claims. He became one of the wealthiest men in South Africa by streamlining diamond mining operations. His fierce competition with Rhodes eventually led to their cooperation and the formation of De Beers Consolidated Mines. Rhodes eventually bought Barnato out and formed De Beers Consolidated Mines, which changed the diamond industry by moving away from one person, one claim system to large-scale industrial mining operations. This shift allowed for more efficient extraction and greater control over diamond supply and pricing. We're going to learn more about this in Term 2 when we discuss the Mineral Revolution. Okay, let's talk about the conditions of the diamond miners, especially the black claim miners. Their contributions were crucial to the diamond industry. They worked long hours in dangerous, deep pits with little safety measures. Despite their hard work, they were often paid much less than white miners and had fewer rights. Many black miners lived in overcrowded and poor living conditions. Thank you, Grade 8s, for watching all 4 episodes of History Term 1. I hope you now have a better understanding of the Industrial Revolution in Britain and what was happening in South Africa at the same time. Goodbye!